All right, a good Saturday to you. Thanks for finding us here at Fox 26. I'm meteorologist John Dawson. Going to dive in and give you a quick weather update. We've had a very active radar here for the majority of the afternoon. Even this morning we had some isolated to scattered showers, but really once we got past, let's just say lunchtime, we certainly began to see a lot more activity, very widespread rain. Some of that rain has some heavier downpours that are kind of embedded in there. And that's what we're seeing here with a little bit of one of these boxes indicating the stronger storm track of where we're going to be seeing that storm go. It's currently in northern Brazoria County. And overall, this is the kind of pattern that we're going to stay with for the rest of the night, where we have showers across the area. And then within that, some heavier bands of rain or sort of clusters of storms that are going to kind of be mixed in. And you can see here with our lightning counter at the top of the screen, we're certainly indicating some strikes of lightning thrown in. But what we're also seeing in some of these storms are some small hail being reported. So be aware of that as you're kind of moving around, or if you need to head out, that there could be some smaller hail kind of mixed in. We're not looking at anything that's going to be damaging in size necessarily, especially overall the severe threat is not something that we're focused on today. And part of that severe threat would be large hail. So we're not looking for that. But when you have a heavier downpour like this, it gets a little bit of a gusty wind kind of thrown in there as well. And you can see, as I mentioned, this box here representing that area in which the stronger storm activity is going to be happening. And that's going to be really for the next 30 to 40 minutes that we're going to be looking at that. And as I mentioned as well, you can sort of see those lightning strikes working its way in. So right now, what we're seeing the strongest of the storm activity would be just south of downtown, kind of cutting across the south loop here over towards the Baytown area. Maybe just missing out well, I guess we are kind of getting in LaPorte. I was about to say missing out on LaPorte, but I think actually we are going to kind of catch Deer Park, LaPorte, Pasadena is also going to be all kind of stretched into that area as the stronger cluster of storms kind of moves on in a little bit. Just a quick kind of zoom up to the northern portions of our viewing area. You also have some of these smaller embedded storms kind of moving through Walker County and now over into closer into the Lake Livingston area. And Conroe also, again, with some of that isolated downpours that are heavy kind of moving through, not really causing a lot of problems overall, but just something I don't want you to be caught off guard or surprised with in the bigger picture of things. As we zoom back just a little bit, you can see that a lot of rain headed over to the east of us. So this is sort of on the edge, the Fox 26 viewing area on the edge of where these showers and heavy downpours, we'll call them storms, are forming and then continuing to move over to the east. And we're going to remain available for that through tonight and really even continuing into tomorrow morning as a possibility. Now, I know there's certainly some outdoor activities happening across the area this weekend, and that does include Mardi Gras down on Galveston Island. So our forecast is not great for today, certainly, as we're going to continue to keep rain, some showers, possibly even some storms throughout the rest of the night. And I can't always remember the exact schedule of events down there, but you know there's going to be some parades happening, and you know there's going to be some outdoor just fun that's trying to be had, and rain is going to have to be planned for throughout that time period. Now, when we look into Sunday, the rain is primarily just the first half of the day, maybe even really just until 10 a.m. or so. So that's going to be better news for those activities happening in the afternoon down in Galveston or really anywhere in our viewing area. Be ready for some better outdoor conditions tomorrow in the afternoon. We certainly look for some rain possibilities in the morning. We just had a kind of a heavier bit of showers move through the Galleria area. Here's where our tower cam is located. The skies here just a little bit lighter overall. They were darker skies and had the rain coming down. And that's, again, we see these bands of rain, these rounds of rain kind of moving in. But with that north wind at around 10 miles an hour and the air temperature at about 41 degrees, our wind chill or our feels like temperatures are still in the 30s. So we're still dealing with some pretty wintry-like weather for this weekend. And I'm kind of advertising that I think this is sort of the last push of the wintry weather. Not to say that we won't have a chilly morning or it might be cold a little bit here as we finish up February and get in towards the beginning of March. But I think that freezing temperatures for more than one morning and that just really cold feelings overall is sort of working its way out. I certainly think we're going to be looking at another chilly morning for tomorrow. So we're looking at that lingering rain tonight. We carry that over into Sunday morning. And yes, it remains chilly, but we're not looking for those freezing temperatures. And really the whole nation beginning to thaw out just a little bit, not looking as cold in the bigger picture. And yes, I could say a warming trend will be headed our direction, and I'm hopeful that that pleasant weather is going to be sort of the beginning of a stretch of that pleasant weather. So here's that sort of bigger pattern that we've got set up with a lot of moisture getting funneled across the upper levels of the atmosphere. And then at the surface, we have a little bit of a spin, a little low pressure that's sort of helping to churn that rain that we're seeing right now. Temperatures across the nation, I mentioned we kind of thawed out a little bit. We've got some freezing temperatures that are still out there for sure, with some lower 30s for some of the northern portions of the nation. But remember when we were having single digits and negative numbers? It wasn't that long ago, right? So this is certainly welcomed, I'm sure, for the folks up in Chicago, probably happy to see anything above freezing at this point. And the same goes for the folks in Kansas City who are now even out of the 30s. So I think that's going to be welcomed right now. So across the state of Texas, we've got 50s up to the north, Dallas at 51, Abilene at 56. We'll look at San Antonio at 43, and then we're in the lower 40s right now. And we've already taken a look at our tower cam, but here's one more look again at what is happening in the Galleria area. Overcast skies if you're not seeing those showers at the moment. And with that sort of movement of those low-level clouds, we are looking at some visibility issues. So that's those foggy kind of conditions that kind of get worked in with the rain or without the rain. And when you see visibility of less than a mile, and that's what we're looking at right now, at least in Katy, a mile at least, that's when it's certainly going to impact your driving and on your roadways, when you need to take action to make sure that you're going to be safe. And we're going to continue to kind of need to keep an eye on these as we move through, especially into the evening hours. So be aware of that. If you're headed out late, you got rain and fog that's going to mess with your visibility that you need to be aware of. I've talked about sort of that quieter pattern overall. High pressure always helps to kind of keep things a little bit quieter, and that's what we're seeing kind of building in to the southeast of the U.S. We'll switch to our Futurecast now, showing our pattern here starting about 10 o'clock tonight. Some of these embedded downpours have moved away, but don't think that that's the end of it. As we move through our Futurecast, you'll notice we're building those back in again, even into the early morning hours tomorrow. And then you see all that yellow and the orange, the orange and the reds popping through there in the early morning hours. That's that sort of last push, that last batch of those heavier downpours that we'll see before lunch on Sunday. And then by the time we get to 1 o'clock or so, the skies won't clear to sunshine yet, but we'll get all the rain out, and this lingering clouds that are around is going to be trying to continue to break up. And especially once we get into Sunday night, we're going to be able to see that a little bit further. And you could see some of that clearing beginning to take place, and it moves into the rest of the area into the overnight hours on Sunday. Bigger picture for long term. This is now even past the 7-day forecast. This is the 6 to 10-day outlook. And you can see we're going to be looking at warmer temperatures, not a dramatically warmer, but above average, we'll just call it. As far as our temperatures are concerned, other portions of the country even seeing warmer than, much warmer than usual. And then for the southeastern portions of the U.S., a little bit quieter. There is going to be some rain outlook, so definitely could be looking at some rain possibilities on that extended forecast when we're looking at that 6 to 10 days. And speaking of kind of extended, looking down the week ahead, we've got the beginning of the rodeo, not officially the rodeo, but the barbecue cook-off, the World Championship. That starts up on Thursday, carries into Friday and Saturday. And you know, once we start talking about that, then we're looking at the rodeo right around the corner. But a lot of us like to get out to the barbecue, also getting into the carnival. I'm more of a carnival guy than I am the actual barbecue cook-off itself. But looking good as far as our forecasts go. Not going to say zero chances of rain. Certainly some isolated showers a possibility when we get into Saturday. But overall, Thursday and Friday, looking a little more spring-like with those temperatures in the 70s and low rain chances. We'll say less than a 10% chance of rain for the stretch right now that we look at on that barbecue cook-off. So let me back out of the way, let you get a big picture here. Take a look. We're looking at another chilly night tonight, and overall still with highs only in the 50s. It'll be cool tomorrow, but at least we're going to get some end of the rain once we get into the afternoon. Back into the 40s for Monday morning, and then that's when the warm-up really begins. Monday in the afternoon, we'll see temperatures close to 70 degrees, but I think for sure once we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, those are going to be some of the prime time days for outdoor activities. Personally, I like it when you can wake up in the 40s and then look at about 30 degrees warmer, ending your day in the 70s. That's a stretch that I feel very comfortable with. I know a lot of you might like things a little cooler, maybe a little bit warmer, but that 30-degree difference between the highs and the lows, that's a nice sort of feel, a nice sort of stretch. And as I said, topping out, I'm in the mid-70s. That's a pretty good spot to be overall. And we mentioned the cook-off happening towards the end of the week. Be ready for some very agreeable weather, isolated chances of rain, perhaps once we get into Saturday. All right, we've talked for about 11 or 12 minutes. That's good, give you some time to know what's happening. However you're watching me right now, remember at 5 o'clock, I know it's not on our broadcast side of things, but at 5 p.m. Central Time, in case you're outside of the Houston area, Tom Ziska and I will be back with a full newscast, letting you know all the different things happening across the Houston area as well as the nation. And I'll expect to see you in about 48 minutes.